Hello and welcome everyone to the Behavior Binge Bonanza. How is everyone doing today? I'm excited. I love these events. It's really fun because we can do a little bit more like freestyle learning. Kind of pick whatever you guys are feeling. I'm seeing some suggestions into chat. Yeah, I'm kind of liking a couple of these suggestions. So, yeah, like I said, I'll pick the topics a little bit based off of popularity. So if you are like see something, you're like, yeah, I really want that. Feel free to throw that into chat a couple times. Or sorry, just once, but like again, like from your perspective, like have two people do it. And then I'll also kind of base it off of preference. So like these streams are meant to be fun for me too. So sometimes I just pick topics that I want, but hopefully ones that you choose as well. So yeah, I'm seeing a couple cool ones. I really like rule govern versus contingency shape behavior. I think we'll do that. We can go over that like fairly quickly. What else? A couple people are saying compound schedules are reinforcement. I kind of like compound schedules. What do you guys think? Do we want compound schedules? Okay, a little bit of question dissection. I know question dissection is always popular for sure. Maybe we can review a couple of the ones from Instagram. I think I'm a little bit behind on some of the feedback from Instagram, so maybe we can review those live and then we can just like write out the feedback over here. So maybe we can do a little bit of that. Cool. I think we'll start. Yeah, maybe do some question dissection. What else? Behavior assessment. We've done that a lot recently. Measurement. Yeah, measurement. We have a presentation that we do for that. That's kind of like one of our cycling ones. So check that out under the live stream tab if you want to get more on measurement. We'll skip that today. Simple and conditional discrimination. Okay. Self-management seems pretty popular. How about we leave it at this, and so we have some room for some other suggestions later on here too. I like our list to start off with. We're gonna start with this, and then if you're here live a little bit later when we're picking new topics, we can take some more topics. Yeah, measurement IOA. We've got good videos for that. Check on the channel for sure. We've got good videos for that already. Okay, well, sweet. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad that you are here. Like I said, the Behavior Binge Bonanzas, we like to give away a couple extra things during these streams. So definitely, if you're here live and participating, we could give those out at any time. But also, like, if things are going really well, like sometimes I end up giving away like better stuff and more stuff. Things that can make the stream like go really well is like if we get more people here. One thing that really helps that is if we get a lot of likes on the video. So I like to see a lot of likes on the video. I like to see a lot of people here. Also, like, I'm a big proponent of like kind of give back to the community. So you've noticed like I do a lot of these streams. I give away a lot of stuff just because I want studying for and learning behavior analysis to be affordable for you. But this is how I make a living, so I do need to make some money. So if you are a person that can afford to buy materials, it does help quite a bit if you do purchase these materials. Again, this is how I make my living. And thanks so much to everybody who has purchased materials. Like, the feedback has been amazing, and I can't thank you enough. It's been really cool to be able to do this full time now. So yeah, if we get lots of sales during the Behavior Binge Bonanza as well, then we will be giving away more stuff. So kind of pay it back to me, and I'll pay it back to the community even farther. So nice kind of way that you can kind of like contribute to the community as well as by purchasing things during this stream. So we had the Beat the Beast mock exam. This is like our 175 question full mock exam. It rips. We also have a money back guarantee. If you get 80% or higher on this mock, you will pass the exam. This is for first attempt only, obviously, because if you've already been exposed to the questions, it's not very realistic. But 80% or higher, you will pass. We have never had a refund a Beat the Beast mock exam. Everybody who has scored 80% or higher has passed the exam on their next attempt. So it's a really surefire indicator if you're looking for something like that. If you don't score 80%, what's kind of nice is that we have a scoring scale too. So like under 60%, you've got a lot of work to do. The Beast has won. But again, if you hit that 80% mark, you are a Beast Wrangler. You are going to be, pass the real exam. your next attempt, money back guaranteed. And then we also have a mini mock package, which is pretty awesome. And then what's really cool about these is that the questions are really tough. Like there's no filler questions. These are all scenario questions. There's a mini mock over each section. There's also a couple mixed mini mocks. There will be a couple of new mocks that are going to be added to this soon. So if you buy it now, you'll get those new mocks when they come out in a week or two. So keep an eye out for that. And you can buy them packaged together for just $115 as well. So super great deal, much better pricing than the competitors. A lot of the other places have their mini mocks are just $150 to start off with. So pretty nice cut below that, if you're interested. And again, we'll be giving away some of these during our stream. So just be here and you'll have a chance to win some of those. Cool. Well, thank you so much for being here, everyone. Yay. Kira, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yay. Thank you guys so much. Really, like, all your support is amazing. And like I said, if you guys keep supporting me, I'll keep giving back to the community. And we're going to have some bigger and better plans for understanding behavior content coming soon. I'm really excited to share with y'all. So thanks for being here and supporting me. This is awesome. I love it. All right, let's get nerdy, crew. So that's what we're really here for. Let's talk about rule governed versus contingency shaped behavior. All right. So first of all, when we're looking at all of these are our types of operant behavior. So when we're looking at operant behavior is controlled by the law of effect. And this is, I feel like it's a little bit less familiar term, but hopefully, especially if you've been in my streams, you've heard me say this term a lot because it's super duper important. Kind of just like boldly states what operant conditioning is. So it states that the effects of our actions determine whether or not they will be repeated. And we all know when we're looking at operant behavior, we're looking at our ABC contingency, so our antecedent behavior consequences. And what the law of effect essentially states is that consequences are the most controlling variable over behavior. And what's kind of cool about consequences is when you think about like just an increase in behavior as a result of a consequence, it's not just like so plain in sight. So for example, let's say I bought a lottery ticket and let's say I won. Like I won, let's say $50,000. So that's a pretty significant amount of money. So that's obviously going to be a reinforcement for that behavior. You buy the lottery ticket, you win $50,000. That's sweet. But that's going to increase the behavior. But what does that actually mean? So like increase the behavior. Does that mean it's like going to be occurring like every second of the day now? Like, I don't know, but like increase when? So when you think about our consequences and these future effects, the consequences will also affect the controlling power of our antecedents. So it's going to increase your behavior of buying lottery tickets, but not at like every moment of the day. So like you're at home, it's not like I need to go to the store right now and buy lottery tickets. But when it's like convenient, let's say like you're out in your car and like, or like we're at a gas station, we're at a grocery store, we're already at a place where we're spending money and you can just add a lottery ticket on there, then it might increase the frequency under that condition. So think about like the consequences will also affect the controlling power of our antecedents. So let's look at like our buy lottery ticket. Let's look at this. So like our antecedent, we have no $50,000, obviously, and then we are in the grocery store. Is part of our like other part of our antecedent. Our behavior is that we buy a lottery ticket. And then the consequence would be that we won $50,000. So when we look at this, the future effect, obviously it's going to increase future rate of buying lottery tickets. But it's going to be under this same antecedent condition. So it's like when you're in the grocery store. So see how like the consequence, the reinforcement affects the behavior, but it affects the behavior in this antecedent condition. So it's like when it's convenient for you, you'll engage in this behavior more frequently than before. So what we see here is that the law of effect, we have our consequence is affecting our antecedent as well. So this could increase the evocative effect of being in a grocery store. Sorry, evocative effect of buying a lottery ticket when you are in a grocery store. And this might generalize, could generalize to all places that sell lottery tickets. So we see like our gas stations, I don't know, like a bar, like sometimes they have like those machines where you can just like buy a scratch off or whatever, etc. So that's really important to understand, is that when we're looking at our contingencies and we're looking at like this increase in future rate, that's that consequence that is really controlling. So it's that consequence, like we won the big amount of money. That was really like the cool thing about the that resulted from this behavior. But this consequence is also going to affect the strength of the antecedent. So like when you're in the grocery store or when you're in a place that sells lottery tickets, that's when this increase in likelihood of the behavior is going to occur. Cool. What do you guys think? Do you guys ever think about like that, how that consequence relates to like the strength of the antecedent? So when we say like something has an evocative effect, like that is like a spectrum of like how likely a behavior is to occur. So like for me, like let's look at another like quick behavior. It's just like drinking water. So drinking water results in water in my mouth, and that happens every time. And so that's like increasing or maintaining the rate of that behavior. But it's not like I will ever get to a point where it's like every moment of my day I'm like, yeah, I just need to drink more water. Like it's like increase to like to kind of like overpower my whole repertoire. That'll just never happen because like there's so many other options available. But we see like it's going to be more likely under conditions where water is more reinforcing. So like if I've been talking for a long time, then water's become more reinforcing. If I haven't sipped water in a long time, then water's become more reinforcing. So now we see like the increased rate is going to relate to that motivating operation. So it's like once I get to a certain level of thirstiness, that's when the likelihood of me drinking water is going to be extremely likely. So the more of that MO, the more of that antecedent that's there, the stronger, more powerful evocative effect that antecedent might have in this behavior. So that's what we're looking at operant behavior. It's just all of these simple things when we're just looking at like our antecedents, again, just like our basic contingency, our antecedents, behavior consequences, and how this controls behavior. So this is looking like purely at behavioral contingencies, like without rule governed behavior. And we'll get into like what that means in a sec. So this is just looking at like our consequences. So we have positive or negative reinforcement and punishment. We also have extinction and recovery from punishment. And another thing, we'll want to look at our antecedents. So this is going to be like our SDs and S deltas. This is going to be our MOs. This is going to be our prompts, things like that. So all of these are components of behavioral contingencies, and these are the things that affect behavior. When we're looking at rule-governed behavior, really simple definition here that kind of sucks, to be honest. It's behavior that is under the control of a rule. But let's break down what is a rule. And I'm actually going to throw this on y'all in chat because the more active your responding is, the better. So what do you guys think? What is a rule? So rule-governed behavior is behavior that's controlled by a rule, But what is a rule? Yeah, Gabby's asking an interesting question. She's asking, can operant turn to rule governed behavior? So it like used to be reinforcing to go to work before inflation. Now that my check goes all to bills, it seems like a rule to work because I'm not feeling reinforced. No, I would still say that that would be contingency controlled. So it's just what happened is that, like, the reinforcer got weaker. So like you might get the same amount of pay, but like your dollar doesn't go as far these days. So it's like less reinforcing. So you might just be burnt out. So usually it's the opposite though. Usually like behavior will start as rule control and then it will turn into contingency control. So that's much more common. All right, we've got a lot of definitions in chat now. Let's see what you guys got. So people saying rule is like an unlearned contingency. Not quite. Instruction provided before the behavior. Not quite. No, rule doesn't necessarily have to be an instruction. Written or known consequence that may or may not happen. Okay, Matt, I like where you're going there. Nice ones. Let's see what else. We got something that states that we should or shouldn't do. Okay, Ashley, not bad. Statement that clearly defines the consequences for behavior. However, behavior does not have to contact the consequence in order for it to be established. I know that was a rock star definition. Excellent job there, Taylor. Awesome. So, yeah, Tina, I love that. That's kind of like how my favorite definition of it. Good. Okay, so yeah, a rule, my favorite definition, just to keep it simple, is that it's a verbal description of a behavioral contingency. And remember, a behavioral contingency is going to be like that ABC relationship. So let's just go over like some examples of rules. So a rule could be, is like if I eat a pint of ice cream every day, then I'm going to get fat. So that's a rule. But it's like if I eat 1 pint of ice cream, I'll just get a little bit fatter. So both of those are rules. Let's look at another one. So it's like if I promote my stream, more people will come. So, again, a lot of people got the right connection here. So we're mainly focusing on that relation between the behavior and the consequence. But the rule could also include the antecedent as well, since it does include a full behavioral contingency. So when we're looking at rules and rule-governed behavior, these are like descriptions of the contingency, and what's cool about them is that a rule can control the behavior without having to engage in the contingency. Or sorry, having to engage in the behavior. Or be exposed to the contingency. So let's look at an example of a rule. So if I jump off a tall building, I will get hurt or die. So I never had to jump off of a tall building to know this consequence. And what this rule does is that it suppresses my behavior of jumping off tall buildings. So even though I've never engaged in this behavior and I've never experienced this consequence, this rule is effective at controlling my behavior for a couple different reasons. And the main one here, like one interesting thing, is that I did not have to engage in this behavior at all. So let's talk about what makes a rule effective. Rules are effective when they have two different features. So effective rules describe consequences that are two different things. I'm looking for two P words. I want to see if anybody could guess this. I'm looking for 2 P words. You may not have heard these before. I don't think this is necessarily in Cooper, but it is factual, so it's important. Effective rules describe consequences that are 2 P word adjectives. Anybody want to go for that? Yeah, Kira's got one of them. Is potent or powerful? Excellent. Who wants to go for the other one? So yeah, we have a couple interesting questions in chat right now. So we have a question like, can this also be a nonverbal statement such as a sign like do not enter? So it kind of depends. Like I would say like a do not enter sign, that would be more like a verbal prompt. So it's telling you not to do something, like telling you to go away. It's not necessarily a rule unless we pair it with like different consequences. So if you like knew in the past that if you cross a do not enter sign that you're going to get a fine, like if you've learned that from like a history or watching somebody, then that could be a rule. If you've experienced that, then that would be more of a contingency, or it could be like a mix of rule and contingency control. It really kind of depends. But if it just says like do not enter, like note that that's not a behavioral, that is not a rule because it's not a behavioral contingency. Same thing with like, we had another one, it was like don't eat or don't get in the pool right after eating. That's not necessarily a rule because it doesn't describe a contingency. It just says don't do this. A contingency would be, hey, if you go in the pool right after eating, then you're going to get a really sick tummy. That would be a rule. Do not enter or you'll get shot for trespassing. That would be a rule. But just saying do not enter is not necessarily a rule unless it's previously paired. So yeah, a couple people got my other one here. Very nice. Lillian and Ashley both got that. So the other one is probable. So effective rules describe consequences that are probable and they're potent. So let's look at this one. This was a really effective rule. And the reason why it's effective is it describes a probable and potent consequence. So if I jump off a tall building, like there's very little chance that I'm going to get out of that experience safely. Like this is very probable. Like I'm going to get hurt or die. Like it's very probable. And it's a very potent consequence because I'm not just going to get like a little hurt. Like I'm going to break bones or I'm going to die. I really don't want to die. I love my life. It's awesome. So that would be a really powerful consequence. And that's why this rule is so effective. So, because again, those two features, very probable, very powerful. So it does a really good job at controlling my behavior. Cool. Yeah, we can go over a different example. So let's say that, like if, what's another like probable and powerful consequence? So, if I like tattoo my whole face, then people will look at me funny for the rest of my life. So again, like this would be like another probable and powerful consequence. So like for some people, like they might not mind this. They might like the attention. So that's why they might like tattoo their whole face. Because it might be more reinforcing. But for me, like that would be like unwanted attention. I wouldn't like that. Because a lot of people would probably be like looking or pointing, and I'm just like, no, that would suck. So that's the reason why I'm not gonna get my whole face tatted. That would suck. In my opinion. Let's look at the opposite end. So effective rules are going to be ones that describe probable and powerful consequences. Weak rules often describe small but cumulative outcomes. So Let's look at some examples of weak rules. I think this one is kind of a weak rule where it's like, if I eat 1 pint of ice cream, I'll just get a little bit fatter. So let's look at this. So the consequence is that like there's just a little bit fatter is like my punishing consequence. But whenever we have a behavior that's getting punished and it's still occurring, then we know that there's going to be some kind of reinforcement for it. So we also have to look at the contingency that's like eat ice cream, and then you get like the taste of ice cream and sugar and cold, which is really awesome right now when it's like 90 degrees outside. So this reinforcement, the reinforcement could overpower the punishment. So like just a little bit fatter, like I can eat a pint of ice cream and like I'm not even gonna notice that in my body. Like I'm a big dude, so like well, the weight's gonna disperse. Like I mean it's like calorie wise, I think it's like half a pound. Like I'm 215-pound dude. Like half a pound, like it's not noticeable on me. So the consequence for eating 1 pint of ice cream, like it's not a very strong punisher, and that's why like I still eat ice cream. I love it. It's awesome. So this one is like a small and cumulative punishment. So this is a very ineffective rule. So like eating 1 pint of ice cream only gets me a tiny bit fatter. And this is not punishing enough to suppress the behavior. So this is why I kind of like to look at behavior and all of the contingencies associated with one behavior, because sometimes like there are many different consequences for one behavior occurring. And you kind of have to I like to look at it as almost like a math problem sometimes. So it's like the reinforcement is going to increase it an X number, and then the punishment is only going to suppress it X number. So the behavior is going to occur at Y rate. So that's like kind of like how I like to look at behavior. It's actually very mathematical once you get like into the really nerdy nitty grittiness of it. And it's cool to look at all of the different contingencies associated with one behavior and see like how are these different elements affecting it, like which elements are the most powerful. Like if you're punishing a behavior and it's not decreasing, then it's either because your punisher isn't strong enough or the reinforcement is too strong. So if you kind of break apart those elements, then you can see it a little bit better. And that's why I just love behavior. Anybody else just get off on nerding about behavior and thinking about every contingency that occurs at every moment? Is anybody else like that, or am I just the only broken brain here? There's got to be another fellow nerd. All right. Well, how about we talk about? I want to see some more examples and get you guys active. So I want to see, let's talk about more examples of effective rules at first. So let's see all of your, let's see what you guys got. Effective rules, again, are going to describe consequences that are probable and powerful. So this is you either will engage in this behavior right away or you won't engage in this behavior right away. While you guys are doing that, I actually want to highlight one more cool thing about rules, is that with rule-governed behavior, the delay is not the most relevant feature. So again, what makes a rule effective is that the consequence is probable and powerful. So let me just give you a quick example of a rule that has it's an effective, powerful rule, but it has a long delay. So if I say, send me an email that says booga booga, booga booga, to understandingbehaviorofficial@gmail.com. In the next 5 minutes only. If you do this, I will give you $1 million in a year. And this is not a real rule for legal circumstances. This is not a real contest. But if this was a real rule, then everybody would drop everything that they're doing. They're pulling up their email. They're writing booga booga. And even though like this consequence is super delayed, if you believe in this rule, if you believe that like this is real, like Nick's actually going to give me the $1 million in a year. So if you believe it's probable, we know $1 million is pretty potent for most people. If you like, so most people are going to like drop everything and do this right this second. And even though this consequence is super delayed, it's still probable and powerful. So it is a very effective rule. Matt said email sent. Thank you. It's not real. You did not engage in this contest or sweepstakes or anything. I promise. You did not win. Just to clarify, for any legal circumstances. I know Mr. Beast is getting a lot of flack right now for his illegal sweepstakes, so none of that. All right. Sweet. Well, it looks like you guys came up with some awesome rules. Let's go ahead and check them out. So remember, rule has to describe the consequence as well. Okay, let's look at this one. So brush your teeth so you don't get cavities. And I think this one is actually going to differ depending on like who you are. So let's just do like student submitted rules and talk about them real quick. So brush your teeth so you don't get cavities. So for some people, like this is like could be like a probable and powerful. But if we think of like for some people, it could also be kind of weak. Because if we look at like brushing your teeth one time, this is like very like slight decrease in chance of cavities. So this one might actually be like a small but cumulative and weak rule. Just because like the brushing doesn't necessarily result in a huge increase right away. It really kind of depends. I think like who you are really like has a big factor in this. Like how bad like the cavities are. Like if you've experienced cavities and you had to get like a root canal or something, like that might be, this rule might be stronger. But like if you like don't care your teeth, you don't even care about your teeth or your appearance, this might not be a big thing. Let's see some other ones. Yeah, teeth falling out would be a big one for sure. Like, so yeah, if we did like brush your teeth or your and your teeth won't fall out, that might be bigger for sure. And again, a lot of these are going to be on perspective thing. So yeah, if you steal, you'll get arrested. If you steal, you'll get arrested. So, probable and powerful. And again, like think about this is also going to relate to different motivating operations. So we see stealing is more common with people in low SES status. And that's just because like they might not necessarily have the things that they need to survive. So stealing is like a quick option to get it. So if you're well fed and you have a roof over your head and food to eat every day, then like you're like, yeah, I'm not going to steal like because I don't want to go to jail. But like, let's say that like you have $0 to your name, like literally no credit card, no anything. You're on the streets. You need to feed your kids. Then yeah, stealing is going to become more probable there. So this is all, these rules are also going to be based off of motivating operations. So somebody might know this rule. They might know it's powerful, but the right motivating operation could suppress the effectiveness of this rule. Another thing is like if they get good at it, if they get sneaky at it, or if you live in San Francisco where they don't arrest people stealing at all, then this is not an effective rule because it would be like even though it might be a powerful consequence, it'd be improbable. And that's why you see like in San Francisco, like every car window is just smashed into. So yeah, it kind of really depends on like, we'll just say like depends on MOs. So like people with roof over their head, with food / roof over their head, are unlikely to engage in this behavior. People who don't have basic needs would not be affected as much by this rule. And then also people who live in areas where stealing is not punished, this rule would not be effective. So again, if you look at San Francisco, like theft is everywhere. Like every car is smashed into. Like you can't even like park there or live there because it's just so shitty. No offense if you live in San Francisco. All right, let's see a couple more here. So yeah, eat your veg or don't get dessert. Let's look at this one. See if I can just do. Yeah, so eat your veg or no dessert. So yeah, we have to look at like what happens if you do eat this one. So it's like eat your vegetables. Results in dessert is kind of the consequence. So again, like depending on how much you like desserts or how much you hate vegetables, this could be working different ways. So this rule may or may not be effective depending on like how punishing vegetables are to eat. And how reinforcing the dessert is. Maybe it's like fruit and whipped cream, and then just like I don't care about that, so I'm gonna screw the vegetables today. But if it's chocolate cake for a dessert that day with ice cream, then yeah, we'll eat a couple vegetables for that. All right, let's see some more. Yeah, I like Sarah's got a cool one here, Sarah A. Let's see, so we have paste this over. Don't drive on an icy road because you can get in a car accident and hurt yourself. Sweet. So yeah, we want to look at like what like describing the behavior. So if it's basically like drive on an icy road, it can result in like car accident. And then we have like our car accidents paired with a bunch of bad things. Car accidents paired with bad things like hurting self or others. Self, hurting others, damaging your vehicle, insurance headaches, insurance not cool bonanzas at the F- kind. And yeah, all that kind of jazz. So yeah, I like that. When you drive on an icy road, it becomes more likely in those circumstances. Sweet. We'll go through a couple more. I don't think we'll get to all of them, but thank you so much for everybody giving these a good go. Let's see. If you study every day, you might pass your exam. So yeah, I would say like that's kind of like one of those small but cumulative ones, Chevy. Like some people will find it really hard to study every day. I think behavior also tells us not to give rules that we can't follow through on. Yeah, so that would be like if you're like implementing rules as a strategy. Yeah, file your taxes on time or you'll get heavily fined for sure. File your taxes or you will get fined in a few months. So again, I like this one because it's describing the delay in the consequence, but this is still a very effective rule that gets that gets people to file their taxes on time because they know like the IRS doesn't BS around. So this becomes more probable and powerful because nobody likes fines. Good. Let's see a couple more. Yeah, Lara, that's a good one. I like it. Very fun. If you jump over the enclosure at the fence at the zoo, then you might get eaten by a lion. That's a good one. So I'd say that's pretty powerful and probable and powerful. I don't know. The lions might be pretty docile. It really depends. but like it's like not improbable for sure. So I'd say I would say like the probability, even if it's like 30 to 40%, and I'm just like making up numbers right now. But like powerful is like definitely like certain hospital visit or death. Now I think like these kind of work with each other where it's like, yep, that's probable. Like this is bad enough. And even though it's like not guaranteed, it's going to happen. Like it's risky enough where it's like, yeah, this is going to suppress this behavior for sure. All right. Cool. I think we're gonna wrap up with contingency and rule governed behavior there. Love the examples. Yeah, you guys are crushing it. We've been keeping pretty steady at 50 viewers here. Thanks for everybody that is here. Why don't we go ahead and give something away? Let's start it hot. Like, I love the participation so far. You guys are coming with cool examples and stuff. Let's do a mini mock package. So, we will give away the $99 mini mocks for mastery from Understanding Behavior package right now. They are really awesome. And again, like these questions, like these are no BS questions. They are tough. They will throw you through the ringer. But they have really thorough feedback. Like each feedback even has a sentence on each incorrect answer and why each incorrect answer is not correct as well. So super cool. Excited to give these to somebody here. Let's go ahead. We're going to do random 1 to 500. So go ahead and submit a number into chat now if you'd like to participate. One guess only, please. Multiple guesses will be disqualified. And good luck. Yeah, Stephanie's taking them. Super tough. Awesome. Yeah, Kate says they're tough too. She's been taking them. Love it, Kate. All right, we'll give it like 10 more seconds or so. Also, if you haven't yet, would love it to see a couple more likes on this video. Hopefully we can get even more people here for the study fun. All right, we're going to have Fimo be the last participant here. Here we go. Our first winner, number 87 is what we pulled. Let's see who is closest. I see Denisha 111, Gabby 71. That's 16 off. That seems pretty close. I think Gabby is our winner. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I think Gabby Avery is going to be our winner. Congratulations. Yeah, to claim it, just send me an email at understandingbehaviorofficial@gmail.com. Glad to give it to you. I've seen you at all of these streams. I love the big supporters winning, so congratulations to Gabby. All right, well, stay tuned. If we get more likes on this video, more people here, we might even give away something soon, so watch out. Congrats to Gabby. We are going to move into our next topic. I think actually we were going to get into some questions. So why don't we hop on over to the gram and look at some of our questions. So yeah, let's look at some of the ones from this week. I think we still have some feedback to provide on these, so let's check it out. We've got as a BCBA, you observe a colleague providing M&Ms as the primary reinforcement for an obviously obese child. The M&Ms are effective when used as reinforcers for even tough skill acquisition behaviors, but it appears that a tangible preference assessment hasn't been run in several months. What is the most appropriate course of action for you to take in this situation? Getting some little ethics powwow here. Again, if you know me, I like to see those rationales for your answers. So give this one a go and let's see your best shot. Awesome. And yeah, if you aren't following us on the gram, make sure you are doing that. I'll drop the link for that in here. We are our tag is at understand behavior. So it's a little weird. Not understanding, it's just understand behavior. Awesome. Love it, Julie. Yeah, we got daily questions on here. Our new templates are looking fire too. Cool, I'm liking where we're going so far. Yeah, loving the rationales here. Good job, Gabby. Good, Julie. Yeah, they are on Facebook too. I know. I'm like, I don't know if I'm cool enough for the gram. I don't have a personal Instagram. I just have this one. Yay, I'm glad to hear that, Lindsay. Cool. Loving it, loving it. Let's go ahead and review this question. So yeah, I know you guys love those ethics scenarios. Best answer here is going to be C. So always bring up the concerns with your colleague first. Like that's a really good if you're just kind of like thinking about like the flow chart of like what to do in like ethical circumstances. Like 99% of the time, it's going to be talk to your colleague first. So always your best option. This is not something you need to like report right away. Note to like before you report anybody to the BCBA for a violation, make sure that you've provided feedback first. And even if it is like something extremely severe, like talk to them first. But instead, like if it is something extremely severe, you would talk to them first and be like, hey, this is a violation. I'm reporting you. And then you would report it. Instead of like having like a feedback conversation, but you always go to the person first. Cool, looks good. Let's check out another one. Oh, this one was tricky. 6-year-old Layla often hits her peers during group activities, and her BCBA Theo came up with a program to reduce the behavior. During the program, Theo sets an interval of 5 minutes where if Layla does not engage in hitting, she receives praise and a choice of activity. Theo resets the interval if Layla hits a peer. Which behavior change strategy is Theo using? Yeah, Susan is asking a great question. Sorry, if it's something like severe, like abuse, then you would also call the authorities. You would call the authorities before you would contact the board. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as behavior analysts and practitioners, even as RBTs, you guys are mandatory reporters. So if it's a case of abuse or neglect, then you would report it. I was talking about like I guess like more severe in like terms of the ethics code, but not in a severe in like a legal standpoint. But yeah, if it is illegal, you would talk to authorities first. If it's putting the kid in danger as a mandatory reporter, you would talk to Child Protective Services. If they're in immediate danger, then you would call 911. All right, answer's looking pretty good for this one. Yeah, Kira, right on track. Yeah, some people are noting like it's not the other kind. Like if you want to include in your rationale why it's not the other kind, then we can definitely go over that too. Or then we can definitely enhance your rationale in that way, rather. All right. Excellent. Loving all the rationales coming through. Nice job, Julie, Susan, Sarah, Tina, Matt, Tamana. Looks great. Good job, Lindsay, Lillian. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and check this one out. So answer is going to be B, our DRO interval schedule. So it's an interval schedule because when we're looking at if the behavior doesn't occur for that entire period of time, and then if they do engage in that behavior, then we reset the interval. So that's characteristic of our interval DRO. When we're looking at our momentary DRO, I think about it as like momentary time sampling, but with a contingency. So what we're looking at is just that end moment. If the behavior is occurring, then we're not going to provide the reinforcer. If the behavior is not occurring, then we will provide the reinforcer for that interval. So nice job. DRL interval, this would be, we would reinforce if the behavior occurred at or at a specific criteria or less. So this would be maybe if like, we wouldn't use it here because we would want to completely eliminate hitting, but this would be like if they were hitting like 2 times every 5 minutes or less. So if they hit 3, they would not get the reinforcer, but 2 or less would get a reinforcer. And then fixed interval schedule. This would provide a reinforcer if it's been a period of time later. So this would be like if it's been 5 minutes, then she hits somebody, then this would be reinforced. So obviously not what we're trying to do there because that would maintain the behavior at a low rate. Cool. Looking good. Yeah, Kira's saying she gets DRL and DRH mixed up. So DRL is reducing behavior. DRH is reinforcing higher rates of behavior. DRL and DRD, we did that last week at the Behavior Binge Bonanza, so I will recommend that you go check that out there. And also if you want the notes from that, I forgot to mention that the notes for the Behavior Binge Bonanzas are on the shop as well. So you can get the notes from any of them for just $5. If you want to get the notes from today, it looks like I need to stock it up. So I will go do that in a few minutes if you would like to purchase those. I actually kind of want to get your guys' thoughts. So like with the notes and the notes from the study groups as well, I was thinking about like instead of just having like a $5 purchase for those notes, like maybe have like a subscription pass. So maybe like $15 to $20 a month, and then you can get access to all the notes from all the study groups and also from all of the Behavior Binge Bonanzas. If you've been, especially if you're a person who goes to a lot of the Power Preppers study groups, I'd like to get your thoughts on that real quick. Okay, great idea. Okay. Because I just know like a lot of people, they want to get all the notes, and like some people just like pop in and out of the sessions to like just get them real quick. All right, well, I like to setting something up like that. Because I wanted you guys to have a good way to get the notes. But I want to encourage participation, and I also, yeah, cool. Okay, sweet. I'm glad you guys like that idea. Awesome. Yeah, I think we'll look into setting something like that up soon. Thank you guys, appreciate that. All right, let's check out another question. We'll do the last 2 for this week, and then we'll chug along forward. But which of the following does not need to be considered when recommending and implementing a punishment procedure? Ooh, punishment. Yeah, free notes would make good giveaways too. We can probably give away more of those. On the BBB notes, Behavior Binge Bonanzas, on the streams now, actually, I need to do a little bit better labeling of them on the shop. But if you go on the streams, the thumbnails will have the topics in this, like in the thumbnail, and then so refer to that if you want to know like which topics are covered. But I'll better detail that out in the shop too. Last week we did DRL. If you guys want to just scan the notes, I'll actually pull them up real quick too, so you guys can check out what you'd be purchasing. So yeah, both of them, I think they came out to like 7 or 8 pages. This was the first one, so we did a little bit of talk of ethics. We did a lot of FA stuff. We did FA data analysis, did subtypes, we did OBM, we did some measurement, we did basic contingencies pretty hard. So this was the first one that on July 13th. And then the one that we did last week, we did differential reinforcement. We did DRL. Here's that graphic that you probably want for DRL versus DRD. We'll keep it in the notes or check the last video. DRH, we did shaping. Concurrent schedules, we did a big matching law nerd out session. That was fun. We talked a little bit about RFT, which was cool. We talked about ACT, which was cool. Yeah. So that's what you're getting. Those are like either of those are $5. But I think we'll probably go with the subscription pass style soon. All right, I'm liking the answers. A lot of people are going for D. We see a few rationales there. A little uncertainty with some of the rationales, so that's okay. Let's check them out. Cool, yeah, Lindsay. Cool. I'm liking the answers here. Yeah, let's check it out. So it says, which of the following does not need to be considered for punishment or considering punishment? So let's go through each of these. Desired results have not been obtained using less intrusive means. So that is something we need to consider. We need to exhaust our reinforcement options before we go into our punishment. So not A. Let's check out B. The risks of not implementing the procedure outweigh the potential risks associated with the procedure. So let's think about that. And so we want... yeah, like the risks of not implementing outweigh the potential risks of implementing. So yeah, we do want that. So we would implement that. So we would consider this, absolutely. So we'll cross off B. Let's check out C. The procedure must be modified or discontinued in a timely manner if it is ineffective. So yeah, we would want to consider that. Like we implement punishment, it's not working out. We want to stop it, absolutely. So that leaves us with D. This is going to be like our confirm or deny point. Any existing interventions should be continued along with the punishment procedure to provide continuity. And let's think about that. So like, is that always necessary? And no, I don't think it is. So sometimes you might stop everything to just focus on decreasing the behavior. Oftentimes we'll stop a lot of skill acquisition programming when we're first implementing punishment. So not something we'll always need to consider here. So D will be our correct answer. Awesome. Yeah, love all the rationales there. Perfect. We'll catch up on some likes here. Sweet. So yeah, I think it helps really nicely to go one by one on those. All right, and this question, I believe, was just posted earlier this morning. So, yeah, give it a go. Oh, no, am I frozen? All right, cool. All right, yeah, some people making some connections in terms here. I like it. Ooh, yeah, Lindsay, I like that rationale there. That's great. All right, let's take maybe 15 more seconds or so. Bad at schedules, pass. Aw, don't be scared. All right. Let's check this one out. Looking good, crew. So we are using a concurrent schedule. This is going to be a type of reinforcer assessment. This is called the concurrent operants reinforcer assessment. So one thing to note here, somebody mentioned that this might be like a free operant reinforcer assessment or like a free operant preference assessment. It's not quite like that. So in a free operant preference assessment, we just have the items out and then we take duration of how long they engage with the items. But in a reinforcer assessment, they actually have to engage in different behaviors, and then we follow that behavior with the reinforcer and see how much it increases. So for example, if I were to do a concurrent operants reinforcer assessment, you need to choose equal response effort responses. So what I usually like to do is like just different card touches. So it's like, hey, if you touch the green card, you get this stimulus. If you touch a blue card, you get this stimulus. Touch the yellow card, you get this one. Just because it keeps like all that really like equal response effort. But like another example could be like, let's just do like two like simple gross motor actions. So if it's like, I could be like clap my hands, or I could be like pat my lap. Like those are kind of like similar response effort and similar types of actions. So whenever he claps his hands, I might provide the 4x4 Rubik's Cube. And then whenever he pats his legs, I might provide the 3x3 Rubik's Cube. Then we would measure how much they would engage in both those responses. And whichever response that they engage in more frequently, either the clapping or the patting, that would determine which stimulus is more reinforcing. So that would be a quick example of that concurrent operants preference assessment. It's like two response options available at the same time, provide a consequence for either response, measure the responses, whichever one is incurred more frequently, the reinforcer or associated with that response is going to be more effective or stronger. All right, nice job. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed those questions. We are going to move on to our next topic. Oh, did we really have to choose self-management? This is not a topic I'm prepared for. Anyway, we'll talk briefly about self-management. Honestly, I'm not the best with like knowing all of the techniques. If there are specific techniques that you want to discuss, then feel free to throw those into chat, and I'll make sure to hit on those a little bit. Well, let's talk about Skinner's definition of self-management. And it's essentially, it's any response that has the function of controlling another behavior of their own at a different point of time. So that's Skinner's rough definition of self-management. So we're engaging in behavior to control a behavior later. So some quick examples of this, like think about like setting an alarm clock. That's technically a self-management technique where you are set the alarm clock, and the consequence of that is like more likely to be awake at that time. So self-management. There are tons of different types of self-management techniques. Again, I'm not really the best person to like list them all out, but if you guys have like particular self-management strategies that you wanted to discuss, feel free to throw those into chat, and I'm happy to hit on them. But I really just kind of like this basic definition of Skinner self-management, and it's a very general definition. So like if you see things that fit that definition, you'd be like, yeah, that's self-management. I'm trying to look up just like some other, again, this isn't a topic that I hit on very recently, so I apologize. But I'm gonna try to like find something that might be helpful for you guys if you guys don't have any other suggestions. Otherwise, we might just move on too. Yeah, I guess like some other like examples, really good ones are like goal setting and monitoring. So goal setting is kind of like going to like make it more likely that you will engage in actions aligned with the goal. So again, like just thinking about this like very blandly, hit Skinner's definition, response that functions of controlling another behavior. So like I'm going to be more likely to do this at a later point since I have this goal. Monitoring is very nice. So kind of like tracking progress. Honestly, like monitoring is huge and I feel like often underestimated as well. So like sometimes like tracking progress without like changing consequences is enough to change behavior. And what's kind of nice about this is it becomes kind of like intrinsically reinforcing, because it's like the progress is the reinforcer. So like monitoring is a great strategy, especially like if you're working with an individual on a skill where it is effective. Like sometimes it's all you need is just like, hey, let's just like track this and we'll see how it works. Yeah, yeah, using visuals or text as a reminder. That's a good one, Kira. Visuals and text as a reminder. So again, this is kind of like putting more things in your environment. In the environment that will help prompt behavior. Sweet. Yeah, good ones. Yeah, using like calorie counting app, and that would like fall into the monitoring. Like that does a lot for me. Like I had like a short period where I was calorie counting for like 3 months, but I was like hitting my goals every day because I was doing like calorie and protein count. So I was like hitting like 150 to 200 grams of protein with like a 2,000-ish calorie goal. It was just like so fun to hit that because I knew if I was hitting that, then I'm just gonna get freaking shredded. So that monitoring, like don't underestimate that. It can be a really powerful tool. Yeah, can you involve in others in monitoring, like an accountability partner? So yeah, it kind of like falls into like a blend, like using like others to help. So it's like a kind of like a blend between self-management and performance management. Kind of like the initial like ask is kind of self-management, but then if you look at just like their behavior, that's more performance management. But I think it kind of like fits under the same category. It's still like doing behavior to try to increase performance. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I love these examples, everyone. Looking great. Yay, Lindsay, for sure. Thanks for coming. Have fun with your daughter, and hope to see you around soon. Awesome. Sweet, sweet, sweet. I like that. So yeah, self-management, again, I think just like really drilling in this definition, like Skinner does no wrong. Like he always says it right. Drilling in this definition and seeing and getting familiar with different examples and how they relate to Skinner's definition, you should do pretty well with it on the exam. Yeah, time blocking is a pretty cool one too. So time blocking is like setting periods of time for specific tasks. So it kind of like creates like more like differentiation between them. Yeah, Tamana's asking about like if you're reducing weight and watching your calories every day and you eat under 1,000 calories and you give yourself a treat. Is that self-management or self-monitoring? So I think like the watching the calories, like if the tracking your calories, that's monitoring. If you have a consequence associated with like meeting that, then that would be like more self-management. But also note, like, self-monitoring is a self-management technique, so it still kind of is self-management, no matter how you look at it. Cool. Well, yeah, we're gonna leave it on there for self-management. I think, like, if you're teaching self-management in a practical setting, like, definitely do more, like look at some of the current research, because this is a field in an area that's developing pretty fast, and how it's effective, and or how we can be effective, and how we interact, especially with more verbal autistic individuals. So definitely, if you are working with clients where you want to use self-management techniques, definitely get focus onto some of the current literature and research out there. One book I would recommend is called Flexible and Focus, which is a guide to teaching executive functioning and self-management skills to autistic individuals. So definitely check that out if you are planning to use any of these techniques in your practice. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and take some more topics. So if you're still here, we'll give you an opportunity to suggest something that you'd like to review. So yeah, what do you guys want to go over? We'll again base it out a little bit off of popularity and kind of just what I'm feeling too. Variation of FAs, we did that we did that a while ago. AKAs, I don't just have a good list of, I don't just have a list of AKAs. I don't know a good way to go over that. I feel whenever we talk about a topic, we'll hit AKAs. Imitation training, competency-based training, it can be fun. Punishers. Experimental designs. Maybe. What else you guys got? Progressive ratio, reinforcer assessments. That could be fun. You guys like reinforcer assessments? CMOs? Okay, a lot of people say experimental design. I don't want to do a deep experimental design. I'm not feeling that. Maybe if you guys want to do experimental design, do you want to pick one experimental design that you want to kind of do a deep dive in? I would be more open to that. Okay, reinforcer assessments. That sounds kind of fun. How about reinforcer assessments? How about reinforcer assessments, and then maybe we'll pick one experimental design. We have some other experimental design videos out there. So yeah, we'll pick one, because we could spend the rest of the session on experimental design easily. I'm just not really feeling that, to be honest. So if you guys want to pick one, we can do one of those. But let's start with reinforcer assessments, because we just had that question on reinforcer assessments. So why don't we kind of finish it up? So a reinforcer assessment, this is an assessment to figure out if a stimulus is a reinforcer. And you know what? I think it's always fun I think it's always helpful to just practice and recall some of our basic definitions. So I want to see your best shot at a definition for reinforcer. I would encourage you to kind of just give it your best. Don't worry about being perfect here, but give it your best. Don't look it up if you don't have to. But let's see, what do you guys think? Reinforcer, give me a definition. Couple important components to hit in it. Okay, anything that increases future behavior. Okay, not bad. That increases or maintains the desired behavior. Okay. Well, for me, one question I want to ask, water is a reinforcer for me, but it's not currently increasing anything. Okay, we have stimulus that increases behavior. Okay. Something a person's willing to work for. Ooh, Laura has some really important parts in her definition that have been missing. Laura's taking the cake. Best definition so far. Okay, so we've got a lot of good answers here. Let's talk about this. So a lot of people are saying a stimulus that increases future frequency of a response. But like, when? What I want to ask is like, when or how? That's the thing that's missing in about 80 to 90% of these definitions is like, when or how does it increase a future frequency of a response? Ooh. Getting us thinking a little bit. Ooh, yeah, Lisa's right on it. Yeah, Susan, really nice, included that in her definition. A consequence. Good. Good, good, good. Yeah, Taylor, good. There you go, Lillian. Awesome. So, what I want to add to this definition: stimulus that increases future frequency of response that it follows. So, behavior produces reinforcer, and that increases the future frequency of that behavior. So provided as a consequence, or it's produced by the behavior, contingent on the behavior, immediately following the behavior, anything like that is great, great, great. So know that is a really important component. So to test if something is a reinforcer, we need to provide it as a consequence for behavior. And then we also need to track if that behavior increases. And what we're going to do is we're going to compare this to other reinforcers or to a control condition. So when we're talking about a reinforcer assessment, this is a more scientific, more controlled version of a preference assessment. And the purpose is to determine if and how powerful a stimulus functions as a reinforcer. So that's kind of like the big advantage of a reinforcer assessment over a preference assessment is not only is a reinforcer going to tell you if something is a reinforcer, but it's also going to tell you how powerful of a reinforcer it is, give it by looking at like how much it actually increases behavior. So we've got 3 different types of these. One of them is I would say kind of useless, but we've got 2 other ones that are pretty useful. Can we see those into chat? So again, we've got 3 different types of reinforcer assessments. Let's see that. Yeah, good. Taylor, progressive ratio is 1. So we've got our types. New types. We've got progressive ratio. We've got good. We've got concurrent operants or concurrent choices. And then we also have the multiple, not the multiple stimulus. This is going to be the multiple schedule reinforcer assessment. All right. The multiple schedule reinforcer assessment, I would say, is probably our least useful. We'll get to it, but definitely the least useful. Good. All right, let's talk about each of these. The first one is going to be our progressive ratio reinforcer assessment. So let's first go over so progressive ratio schedule reinforcer assessment. Then we have our concurrent operants or concurrent choice. We'll call it concurrent operants or concurrent schedule, actually. Reinforcer assessment. Wow, I'm like lost my fingers on my keyboard. All right, and then we have our multiple schedule reinforcer assessment. So let's first talk about what a progressive ratio schedule is. So progressive ratio schedule, this is a series of fixed ratio schedules that increase in response effort as each one is completed. So here's what this might look like. Like an example, we might start with like a couple FR1s, just kind of get the ball rolling. Then we'll move to FR2, FR3, FR5, FR7, FR8, FR10, FR12, etc. So think about this as kind of like a path to go along. So in the progressive ratio reinforcer assessment, what we're going to do for a process is we're going to choose a behavior. Choose a behavior. This can either be a skill acquisition response, or it can be an arbitrary response. And it should just be like mildly effortful. So it should be effortful but repeatable behavior. So I did these with a client one time, and our response was that he had a shape sorter and he had one shape, and he just had like the response was he had to put the shape like through the outside of the shape sorter. So that is going to be our behavior. Again, it just needs to be like an arbitrary response. This could very easily just be like a skill acquisition response too. So it could be like complete math problems. So here was our path. Once he completed one response, we would move to the next. We would provide the reinforcer and then move to this next schedule. So let's say we did a G.I. Joe doll as our first reinforcer. So he would sort one shape, gets the G.I. Joe for 30 seconds. I take it back. He sorts another shape, gets the G.I. Joe for 30 seconds. And now the schedule is going to increase. So now he has to sort the shape twice. And now he gets the G.I. Joe doll. He doesn't get it till he does that twice. He does it the two times. Now the schedule is going to move up to FR3. So every time he completes it and receives the reinforcer, the schedule is going to move up to the more intensive schedule. So we'll continue this until they stop responding. So we'll choose the behavior. We'll start the session. Usually we'll say something like, hey, we'll like first obviously like show them the response. Like model it. Then we are going to say something like, hey, like if you keep doing the behavior, then I'll keep giving you the reinforcer. And then what you do is you just provide the reinforcer at the appropriate times, measure the response, and we'll terminate the session. We'll set a termination criteria. So yeah, you'll set termination criteria. And usually this is going to be something along the lines of like student does not engage in the response for like 60 to 120 seconds. So that would just be like an example of a termination criteria. So like if you just like went 2 minutes without sorting a shape at all, we'd be like, okay, we're done here. And that is what we would call a ratio strain. So you would measure the, for the data, you would measure the frequency of the response. So let's look at our data analysis. What we want to do is we want to see which schedule of reinforcement did they stop responding on. So this is what we'll call a ratio strain. So let's say like For example, they complete FR10, but do not complete FR12. Then we would say they ratio strain at FR10. You could also repeat this assessment for different reinforcers and compare results. So, I might repeat this assessment and be like, hey, instead of G.I. Joe, like, here's a thing of bubbles. We'll do the same thing. Like, you just keep sorting the shape. If you keep sorting, then I will give you more bubbles. We'll see where they ratio strain at. So let's say for the bubbles, let's say they completed the FR15 but did not complete FR20. Then we would say that they ratio strain at FR15. And then our data here would show us that the bubbles are more reinforcing than the G.I. Joe doll because he would engage in 15 responses for the bubbles but would only engage in 10 responses for the G.I. Joe. So what's kind of cool is that if you use this for a skill acquisition behavior, it also kind of gives you like a reference point of how much will he work for which reinforcer. So it's like, hey, if we got the bubbles today, then, and he would do 12 math problems, and I can keep my reinforcement schedule around like VR 10 or so, and we should be good. If I only have G.I. Joe and I don't have bubbles, then we know like he stops responding after 10. So I'm going to like give him a looser schedule or a thicker schedule and maybe like provide reinforcement after like 5 or 6 responses. So that's kind of cool about progressive ratio, especially if you're using like a relevant response. You can also get that information about like when to actually provide reinforcers. Cool. Well, my throat's a little sore, so I think it's a good time for a giveaway. What do you guys think? Yeah, so how about we give away a copy of the Beat the Beast mock exam on this one? We'll do similar things, so we'll do random 1 to 500. But the Beat the Beast mock exam, it rules. It's a $40 value, but you can actually get it cheaper if you use the code UBNerd at checkout. It goes down to $34. But super cool mock, and if you get 80% or higher, you are guaranteed to pass or your money back. Especially for the free people, I will give you your money back if you if you win it and don't pass after 80%. For sure. All right, sweet. Let's see those numbers, 1 to 500 in chat. Yeah, so we had a question, what's the difference between preference and reinforcement assessment? So the main difference at the reinforcer assessment is looking if something actually increases behavior. And we are also doing it in a more controlled manner. Or preference assessment is just looser data. All right, how about like 10 more seconds? We'll give this away. We'll do 1 to 500 again. Here we go. Our number is 374. I see Kira here at 372. That is pretty close. I think Kira is going to be our winner. Congratulations. All right. Send me an email at understandingbehavior@gmail.com, and I will send you your free mock exam. Thank you so much for being here, and congratulations. Let's see. Maybe we'll give away some more stuff. I don't know. All right. So that's our progressive ratio reinforcer assessment. I meant to say one more thing about this one. You can also compare the total number of responses. So since we're working with our fixed ratio and not our variable ratios, like these numbers are always going to be the same. So it's like if you make it to FR3 schedule, then it took 4 responses to get there every time. So this is also a valid way to make your data analysis. Just comparing like the total number of responses that they engage in and compare that to the different reinforcers with the similar assessment. Woo woo! Yeah, congrats to Kira. Woo 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 woo. Alrighty. Let's keep on trucking. Let's do our concurrent operant schedule reinforcer assessment next. So let's first talk about a concurrent schedule. So this is when multiple responses are available at the same time that result in different reinforcers. So we're going to use this setup in the reinforcer assessment. So in the concurrent schedule reinforcement assessment, we are going to have, again, multiple responses available at the same time that result in different reinforcers and outcomes. What we want to do, like I mentioned earlier, is that we want to, like, for the responses, we want to equalize the response effort for the responses. Best way to do this, if like the individual has visual discrimination, is with card touches. So you just have like different cards lead to different reinforcers. So that kind of like equalizes the response effort because like touching any card is very similar. Where you think about if you're doing motor actions like arms up, like that's kind of effortful versus like clap your hands. So like that response effort is going to factor in like how much the behavior is going to occur. So we want to equalize that as much as possible so we don't have to mess with that. So, yeah, different cards lead to different reinforcers. And then during the actual assessment, what we're going to do is we'll like have the individual like test out all the other responses before the assessment. So usually like what you'll do is like just like prompt them to engage in each response and provide the consequence. And then during the assessment, what we'll do is just be like, you can do whatever you want, and just provide like the different consequences. So like provide the appropriate consequences for the different behaviors immediately. So like, for example, like they touch a blue card and they receive like a car. But if they touch the red card, or no, let's not make it red, but if they like touch a yellow card, then they get the light up farm. So that'd be a quick example. We've got multiple responses available at the same time. They can engage in whichever responses they want. We provide the consequences. And then for our data analysis, what we'll do is we'll measure the frequency or rate of each card touch. One thing is that like if your individual might have visual discrimination issues, also include a control card or a control response. And this card would be like you touch the control card and there's no consequence. So I actually ran these with one of my clients before. So what happened is that we this client, he was 10, he was a bigger guy, and he had some aggression. We had a very clear attention function, and we were doing FCT, and he was engaging in the FCR, so he was like asking to play and asking for attention, but then he would like hit us while we're playing. So we're like, okay, the first thing we want to do is we want to rule in or out, are we using the right form of attention, or are we using a potent form of attention? So we ran an attention reinforcer assessment. So we had like 4 or 5 different cards out that led to different types of attention. And we also included a control card because we were kind of like iffy on his visual discrimination skills. So we had a white card where like, hey, if you touch this, then nothing happens. So what happened is that he was kind of just like going down the line and just like touching each card. And he did touch the control card a few times. So it's very similar like to our functional analysis. So when including a control card or a control response, make the data comparisons to the control and not to 0. So for example, let's say like our data is that we had blue card was 3, yellow card was 3, and then control was 3. Then we would say that this is not a reinforcer. Like none of these are reinforcers. So the conclusion, nothing is a reinforcer. Because there wasn't an increase over our control response, which led to extinction. Let's look at another quick example. So let's say our data instead, we're looking at the blue card, it occurred 5 times, and yellow occurred 3, and control was 3. Now we actually know that the blue card stimulus was a reinforcer because there were increases over control. So it's gonna be like the data analysis is gonna be really similar to a functional analysis if we include that control response, because we're gonna make our comparisons to control instead of making our comparisons to 0. So if we had this data set, then we would say the blue card reinforcer is reinforcing, the yellow card reinforcer is not reinforcing because it did not increase the behavior. All right. And then, so what we'll do is like we'll compare the rates of the responses to each other. And remember, each response is tied to a reinforcer. And again, if you're including a control, compare to control. And then you also want to compare them to each other to determine what is most reinforcing. So that's our concurrent operants. What's really nice about it is that you can test a lot of different reinforcers really fast. So like I think in our attention reinforcer assessment, we had 5 different reinforcers all tested out at the same time. But if we were to do it as a progressive ratio, then it's like we would have to repeat the whole assessment 5 times, where in this one, we could just do that one assessment, and now we have some data on all 5 of these different stimuli. So definitely a cool advantage of the concurrent operants, like test more reinforcers faster. Test more reinforcers faster. Let's talk about our multiple schedule reinforcer assessment. Again, I think this is the least useful one. Let's break down some of the features of the multiple schedule first, since they are necessary to know. If we like think about this, like this is one of our compound schedules of reinforcement. But the assessment here is like a utilization of that compound schedule reinforcement. So kind of similar with the concurrent schedule. It's like the concurrent schedule is a compound schedule, but this is a way that we're utilizing this schedule to get something useful out of it. So our multiple schedule, the features here is that we look at successively presented schedules. So it's just one at a time. And then we have them signaled by an SD and S delta. And and in one, we're looking at one response class between the schedules. So in the reinforcer assessment, we use these same features. So in condition 1, we are providing a stimulus non-contingently. In condition 2, we pick an arbitrary response. So we'll provide the stimulus after our particular response occurs. And what we're going to do is that we're going to measure the rate of the behavior in both conditions. When choosing the behavior, so choosing the behavior, again, it can be an arbitrary behavior or it can be a skill acquisition behavior. So it can be arbitrary, so kind of just random or nonsense or meaningless, or a skill acquisition behavior. So what we're doing for our data analysis is we are measuring the rate of that behavior in both of our conditions. So if the behavior occurs more frequently in condition 2 than condition 1, then the stimulus is a reinforcer. So the reason in condition 1 we're going to provide that stimulus non-contingently is we want to control for the presence of that stimulus in both conditions. So here's like a quick example. Let's say I wanted to see if a token is reinforcing. So in condition 1, we're going to choose a behavior first, and we're going to measure this behavior in both conditions. So I'm just going to choose a random behavior. Let's say we choose standing up. So I'm going to measure how much does this kid stand up in this 10-minute block, for example. Or maybe it's an even longer block. And then every 1 minute or so, I'm going to provide him a token. So non-contingently providing him tokens. And then in condition 2, now I'm not providing tokens non-contingently, but I'm providing them contingently. So whenever he stands up, I'm going to provide him a token. Now, if the amount of that he stands up in condition 2 is more than he stands up in condition 1, then I would know that the stimulus is a reinforcer. So again, I think it's the least useful. It's the most cumbersome because you need to do 2 conditions to test out 1 reinforcer, where it's like the concurrent, we can do 1 condition and test out 5 different reinforcers if we wanted. The progressive, we could do 1 condition and test out 1 reinforcer, so it's just not very efficient. I don't think it's very useful. I've never used this in my life. You probably won't, to be honest. Alrighty, well that's our reinforcer assessments. How about we take one more shorter topic? My throat is a little bit sore than I thought it would be. I feel like I'm yelling today. Maybe that's why. But let's do maybe one more topic. Let's get some suggestions in chat and pick something you guys want to review. Thanks so much to Lauren, who bought a mock exam during this stream as well. If we get another sale or 2 during this stream, maybe we'll give away another mock exam. Also, if you want to purchase the notes from today, they are available on the shop for just $5. Actually, no, they're not available on the shop because I need to stock it up, but they will be very shortly. Boom, they're on there now. All right, what do you guys got for topics? Practice writing operational definitions. Ooh, brutal. Maybe next time. That's a good one for next time. Negative and positive punishers and reinforcers. We did a bit of the contingencies last time, or no, we did it on our first BBB. Yeah, Kate, like function-based strategies to improve personnel performance. That's a good one. Yeah, we'll go over that briefly. I think that's kind of cool. I know people suck at Section I, and tend to find it difficult. I agree that it's like definitely one of the more difficult things to study on the task list. Just because like it's a little bit less clear and it's like more random what type of scenarios that you could get. But we'll hit on this a little bit. So yeah, we'll hit this and then we'll wrap it up for today. If we get another sailor or two during this, before the stream ends, and maybe we'll give away another mock exam. All right, so let's talk about this one. So I guess I kind of just want to talk about like overall supervision. So kind of like your overall approach for supervision and performance issues is that you're gonna like take similar strategies as you would for your clients. And the meat of this is essentially that you're going to assess and then design function-based treatment. So honestly, like for any like client issue, like this is pretty much the process for any performance issue with like a supervisee or an RBT or anything like that. This is going to be like the same process. The thing is that like there can be a wider variety of factors that affect your performers, and it's going to be like you're going to have to like get like more flexible with like what you're going to do as a treatment, I guess. So let's just think about like some common performance issues and potential function-based treatments. So yeah, if you have any that you want to go over in chat, feel free to drop them. But let's go over just like some basic ones. So let's just say like you're in a center and two RBTs are like frequently chatting about not work during sessions. So that is a very common issue that you're going to run into if you work at a center. So what you need to do is we need a function-based strategy for this. So there is a couple different ways that we could go. We could either like set clear expectations about like when to chat and not. So think about that. Like that might target it. We might also like just separate them, separate the two RBTs physically. So sometimes just having like physical separation is like, yep, this really easily solves the problem. Cool. See, because it might be that they already know their expectations and they're still not doing it. So we might just need to like separate them completely. We might have like performance plans that target this specifically. For sure. So what we're doing is like we're looking at the issue and like what are some things that could potentially work. And one thing that is like a useful framework for analyzing performance issues is like separate problems into either can't do or won't do problems. With our can't do problems, usually like we need to this is like the problem is that like they physically like don't actually know how to do it, don't know how to engage in the skill, or like don't have the tools they need to engage in the skill. So they don't know how to engage in the skill. Like our most common solution is going to be training. So function-based solution, training. But the thing is that a lot of companies just like throw training at people, and it's like when it's not the issue. So note that like training is only appropriate when not knowing the skill is the issue. So what we really want to do is like match the problem to the solution. So they don't know the skill, we're going to train it. If we don't have the tools to engage in the skill, either we're going to like find a way to get them or modify the procedure to not need the tools. Or if it's like, or we can investigate this problem even further. Like, maybe it's like they have the tools, but they just like always leave them at home. So if it's like, let's say the problem or like rework problem is like they always leave the tools at home. So we could like get performance management where it's like either it's like add like reminders on your phone, or it's like have another set in both places. We might even like back this up with reinforcement strategies, etc. So yeah, I think like the main thing with this one is take a step back whenever you see a performance issue. Do a little bit of split up and like, is this one of these like can't do problems, or is this going to be like one of these won't do problems that are going to like be a little bit trickier, and try to just like match the solution to the problem. I think that's like the main thing about supervision, and something you need to be really flexible about is just like seeing a problem and finding a solution that directly targets that problem. So with our won't do problems, then this might be like a motivation issue. So it could be that there's like competing reinforcers. That's kind of like what we saw in like this first one with like the chatty RBTs. It could also be that there's like not enough reinforcement from the supervisor. So think about it, it's like it could also be your fault. When we're looking at a performance issue, like usually the system is going to like set up the expectations and create the performer behavior. So it might just be like you're not reinforcing what you want to see enough. That could be one of the issues, and you'll have to target that very directly by adding more enriching and reinforcement into the environment. It could also be like your supervision sucks, where it's not reinforcing to be around. That's something we're going to kind of like have to switch up. Maybe you need training on like how to better supervise. It could also like motivation issues could be like a million things. It could be like an external like mood thing. It could be like the RBT didn't sleep. It could be that they're like hungover. Their solution might just be to like send them home. If they're like, if an RBT comes in like hungover and they're performing shittily, just like send them home and get a replacement. That might be like enough. So especially if they like really need their job, really need the hours, like they need, like the RBT needs to learn, like, hey, don't come in hungover because like you're not doing any good for a client. Yeah, we could go on for days and days about examples here, but I just want to kind of like highlight a few and really just install like that big overall theme for supervision is that we want to assess, diagnose our problem, and then we want to go ahead and target that issue very directly. All right, well, shout out to Wesley, who just bought the ultimate mock exam bundle off the shop. Why don't we go ahead and give away one more mock exam before we call it an afternoon. Thank you guys so much for coming. This was a blast as always. Again, if you want to get the notes from today's session, you can purchase them on the shop. Scroll down to the Behavior Binge Bonanza. Just $5 for those. And then, yeah, I would highly recommend checking out these mock exams and stuff. The Ultimate Mock Bundle is a great deal and for some really high quality products. But let's go ahead and give away one more of our Beat the Beast mock exam, our signature mock, to somebody here. We had one question before that. Like, what should you expect as a mid-tier position versus a case manager? Mid-tier Yeah, Julie's right on track. Mid-tier pretty much does everything a BCBA does without the title and under supervision. Pretty much, honestly, the work is very similar to a BCBA, just you're going to report up. Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. This was a blast. Let's do one more of those random 1 to 500s for the Beat the Beast mock exam. Let's start seeing those numbers. I'll answer a couple more questions while you guys are doing that. Okay, yeah, Taylor's asking if it's a can't do problem, is it okay to provide more supervision for that RBT? Is it okay as long as your other supervisors are getting what they need? Yeah, absolutely. Like, some cases and some RBTs are going to need more attention than others. I think it's totally appropriate to allocate more time to the cases that just need more from you. Absolutely. Yeah, most companies don't do a mid-tier model. It's really mostly just the states that allow like BCABAs will do that. So I think like California is like California and Florida are like the biggest ones. But yeah, usually like most companies won't have a mid-tier model. I've never participated in a mid-tier model, so I don't have personal insight from that for you. But I don't know. It seems a little messier, to be honest. It's to me, it's like the mid-tier supervisors probably don't get enough support, and the BCBAs have like too many cases and they get detached from their cases. So like I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the greatest for me. Yeah, Julie's mid-tier. Any insight would be great, especially since you're more into that model. All right, we're going to do Denisha as the last person submitting here. Let's see. Our number is 84. We had Patricia at 85. All right. Well, that is right on track. So we will give it to Patricia. Congratulations. She's won both the mini mocks and the mocks from these streams now. That is amazing. Perfect. All right. Well, congratulations. If you were a winner today, make sure to send me an email at understandingbehaviorofficial@gmail.com to claim your prize. If you are interested in getting any of the products, I would highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed, I promise. These are some really high quality questions that will throw you through the ringer and have some really detailed feedback that you can learn from. So check these out. You can use the code UBNerd and we'll get 15% off either the mini mocks or the mock. The mock bundle does not go on sale, but it is cheaper than the 15% off for those combined as well. So it's a great deal. Anyways, we are going to wrap up for today. Thank you guys for spending your Saturday afternoon with me. We'll probably take next weekend off and maybe do this again in 2 weeks. So hope to see you at one of these events soon. We'll do our normal Thursday live stream next week. Should be a little bit more normal. Join us on the Power Preppers group if you are on Facebook and want to get into some awesome study action. I'll drop the link for that as well. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening, wonderful day, great weekend, all that jazz. Good luck on your test Tuesday, Julie. That's exciting. Okay, well, thank you guys so much. We're going to wrap this up. You all are the best. Love you. Take care. Bye.